Welcome everyone to another special episode of Vinny Makes the Hall of Fame Case for ... And we are going way back. Well, usually with Vinny, we always go way back. Where today, America's favorite sports historian is taking us to, I guess, really the 1910s was his heyday. Was his best period. We're looking at John Donaldson. And no, we're not talking about Josh Donaldson. We're talking about,
No.
Yes, John Donaldson, who is already on the radar of the Baseball Hall of Fame. He's been a nominee, I believe a finalist twice, if I'm correct.
Yes, he was most recently named in 2022 for the class of 2022. He got 8 of the 12 votes necessary. Unfortunately, there were 6 people that didn't think there was 8 people that think that his stats weren't good enough. But, you know,
Well, we're going to sort of debunk that, although there are certainly some things that you can point towards on the negative column, but we'll address that. When the Baseball Hall of Fame opened everything up to the Negro Leagues, it was a great thing, and they put forth a lot of people, and then they just sort of stopped. Now they're ramping it up again. And this might be one person that they forgot to do right the first time. And almost every time you have one of the great baseball historians do their list of all-time Negro League players, John Donaldson's always there. So I think we know why he was forgotten. But
yeah, he was black.
Well, no. Well, I'm more referring to like when they were inducting the Negro League players.
Yeah.
So obviously, they were focusing on black players at that time, and they're still doing that more. I know that with MLB The Show, they've added that. There's certainly been a lot more focus towards that, especially from our friends at Baseball Reference, who has done an incredible job. But there's only so much that they can do. And when we look at a player like Donaldson, for example, if you bring up his name on Baseball Reference, you've got a losing record. And he has a losing record because they're really they're not doing all the barnstorming, although a lot of those teams were barnstorming, but really for the leagues themselves. So this is for what he was doing with the Kansas City Monarchs. I'm sure you found this also. There is a great website that's just John Donaldson.blogspot, and it just comes up with this incredible list of everything that he did. 428 verified wins, 5,295 verified strikeouts.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. There's some sources from newspaper that shows he has 424 wins and also over 5,000 strikeouts. Like,
Right.
You're looking at a guy who, forget race, you could make a serious case he is one of the greatest pitchers to ever play. Period. No matter what kind of rank, just ever play, ever live on this earth.
This one stat that they came up with on the site, and I think that's maybe a big reason why he didn't get into that first group when they were doing all that initial research. He played in over 766 cities.
He played everywhere.
Yeah,
Literally everywhere. He was playing in Lehigh, Iowa. He was playing in Palm Beach, Florida. He was playing in Bertha, Minnesota. Okay. He was playing so many places across the country.
Yeah. And
wherever he went, he dominated.
Yeah. And we're not talking, well, obviously with 428 wins. And we're not talking 766 teams, obviously, but he would play for team after team. I don't know how many. It's got to be maybe within the 100 different teams.
Even if you look at his Wikipedia page, it shows at least like over 25 that he plays for. I don't even think that is the full list. Like,
Oh, can't be. I'm sure there's a
so
pile of one-offs there that
oh no,
yeah.
there's some years where he played for like 7 different teams.
Mhm.
Just insane.
Right. And I think that plays a bit of the story as to why, and we see that nowadays even in modern halls of fame. If you play for multiple teams, it's a lot harder. I think that hurt Fred McGriff. I think if Fred McGriff had the same numbers split with three teams as opposed to eight, I think he played for.
Um, think McGriff.
Either way, it was a lot.
Yeah, I think it also hurt Gary Sheffield too, but that's a that's a whole different story for
Well,
a different
yeah,
day.
I agree with you. And Jeff Field also had other issues. I think it hurt Kenny Lofton
Hmm.
with the second half of his career.
Probably with Johan Santana too. Like it hurts a lot of guys.
Not
I
just
mean,
baseball.
no, it hurts a lot of guys in just many sports in general. I don't care about that stuff, but
No,
obviously that is something that they do look into.
no, but when I think when they were going back and looking at that first initial big cluster group, that didn't help. I mean, I think they were looking at the Monarchs, the Grays, the teams that remain sort of in the consciousness of Negro League Baseball.
Oh yeah, the Kansas City Monarchs and the Homestead Grays are the most well-known teams, and Donaldson didn't really play for them, though I will
Oh no, he did
say,
play for the Monarchs. He was a founding
I
member.
said play for a long time and play for a
Oh,
long
sorry,
time.
sorry. I apologize.
But however, he's the reason why the Monarchs even have their name. He was the one that suggested the name Monarchs, actually, when they were founded.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Well,
Yep.
there you go. That's good. That's almost good enough for me. He is in a Hall of Fame, though. He is in the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. He's also in the Negro Leagues Hall of Fame. Uh,
Yes, I both of those Hall of Fames. Missouri does a fantastic job. I think it is one of the very best state-run Hall of Fames. They actually have two elections a year, one for the first
oh,
half of the year, one for the second half of the year, and they induct so many different kinds of people. They put in players, contributors. They also inducted a sculptor recently, a legit sculptor, and they gave him the
good.
same treatment as everyone else, which is like, this is beautiful. I love seeing this. It's something
I
that I would never expect in a national Hall of Fame, but because it's local and because I think they do a great job, they I respect that.
I'll have to ask you more about the sculptor later. I'm kind of interested in that. So I assume he did sculptures for outside of stadiums, whatnot.
Yeah,
Okay. Another interesting thing here too. He actually became the first Black MLB scout. Didn't know that.
yeah, he was a true pioneer in every sense of the word. Like, and
Yeah.
especially someone like me who likes to think of the entire career aspect, and I'm someone who really, really thinks scouts deserve to get the full treatment. That's something I look at also because you look at him as a pitcher as well, besides just as a scout, trailblazing that.
Hmm.
But you know how dominant he was in many of his games as a pitcher?
How dominant was he?
Well, he started over 92, he completed 92% of the games he started, first off. He had 86 shutouts. He had 230 strikeout games. Yes, that's right. 30 strikeout games. You heard that right. 11, 11 games with more than 25, 30 games with 20, 109 games with 15, 203 games with 10 or more strikeouts. He also was a good batter too, hitting 334. He had 14 no hitters, over like several dozen one hitters, and even two perfect games. Like, yeah, I understand he played forever, but there's people that play forever that don't even come close to that at the professional level. Like 14 no hitters. We talk about Nolan Ryan and how he played forever at 7 no hitters. This guy had twice as many,
Right.
and two of them were perfect games.
I think also though too, there's always going to be the shot against him, and it's fair that a lot of his opponents were not great. In some
Yeah.
cases, you could say they were not good. That is no fault of his own. He played where he could play, and we're talking about the 1910s, 1920s. Segregation was alive and well,
Oh
and
yeah,
he couldn't play in the majors, which was unfortunate, not just for him, but for a lot of people. Did you read
it's
the
not his fault.
story? Yeah, of course not. But I mean, like some people will hold that against him. I think when you do these type of numbers, you can't.
No, I mean, it'd be one thing if he just had like if he was a jobber or something, but he was not a jobber. To
Yeah,
say
yeah, yeah.
he was a jobber just because he played for many teams is an insult. I mean, Bud Fowler had that same argument for some people because he played for many teams, even though he was literally the first of his kind, as in
Mhm.
the first ever professional baseball player, and he became that when he was 14 years old. It took him 150 years to finally make him. But John Donaldson, I think, was even better as a player, as just, I mean, with
From
just
what I've
how,
read, sure seems to be.
I mean, like you can just listen to the number of like no hits, like it's so ridiculous. Like on the greatest black baseball players on the 1952 Courier poll from Pittsburgh, he was listed as one of the best ever, like one of just phenomenal. And not only that, oftentimes in some of the places that he'd play, the Klan was very, very active. And he led a barnstorming troop in Duluth. And during that same time, it was 3 years after there was a whole lynching of circus workers in Duluth, Minnesota.
Oh,
So this man went through a lot, played in lots of places that did not respect him or even like him at all, simply because he was black. And what did he do out of this? He played phenomenal.
did you read the
Phenomenal.
story about him and John McGraw?
I have seen about that a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that is something that I found really interesting. So apparently in but 1910, right when he was at his peak or beginning his peak, uh, McGraw wanted to he wanted to sign him, and he had a backdoor loophole idea, which was that he would get him to Cuba and then sign him as a Cuban, which
Yeah.
Donaldson said no, I'm not doing that.
One quote I remembered about him is that he said that he's the greatest pitcher he ever saw. And he said, if I could dunk him in calamine lotion, I'd sign him.
Kind of wish,
I mean,
yeah.
well, in case you know, guys don't know what that is, it basically makes skin a
Yeah,
bit
yeah,
lighter.
yeah. I know what it is. I just kind of wish we didn't have to sort of go back and hear shit like that. But
Well, I don't either, but you also got to be,
well, we got to be cognizant of what it was. Which
well,
it
yeah, you have to.
is that
You have to
McGraw who
with that
said
time.
that?
John McGraw said that.
Oh, okay.
John, I mean, granted, it's alleged. I think he probably did say it.
Probably did.
Again, it was the 20s, it was the 30s, it was a different time.
Oh
People
crap.
would not say that today for obvious reasons,
You,
but
you,
again, this is the guy
you've
that played
heard
the
that
tens, the
before.
20s, 30s.
Yeah.
That's what it was like.
Yeah. No, it was.
Was it disgusting? Absolutely.
Well,
I think the
yeah, it was. This might be. I don't know about my most wanted, but I'm hoping that when he's up again, because when he will come up again, realistically, it should be an easier thing as more and more people are aware of his story. I mean, 8 out of 12, he's pretty close. So he's going to be on that ballot again, but he'll be on the ballot again with people with a lot of with a lot of people who have been looked at for a long, long time. So how much more? I guess what I'm trying to say is how many high quality people will he be up against, as
the
opposed to
issue is
someone go up, but
the issue is
go
sorry.
ahead. No, go
The
ahead.
issue is sorry. The issue is that I'm going to be blunt here. The Baseball Hall of Fame, I think, did a very, very bad job in terms of the way they want to have less committees for some reason, and as a result, they get this huge committee that has over 100 years of players and non-players into one, and they only list 10 of them. That is brutal for someone like me who wants a lot of people in, but it's also hard for people that want to get people from other generations.
Mhm.
Like, how can people really come up against it? That how can he compete? Like, that is just such. just idiotic and ignorant foresights. It's
Hmm.
disgusting, in my opinion. I think they did him dirty.
Okay. Well, they've got a chance to do right by him in 3 years, is it? When will he be up again?
I think it's like 2025, 20, no, 2026, I believe, is when he'll
In two
be up
years.
again.
Okay. All right. So, if yeah, if you want to sort of like follow up more on that, I encourage you all to go to Josh Donaldson dot Josh, sorry, John Donaldson dot blogspot, and you can sort of like learn a lot more about this incredible player and some of the amazing things that he's done. Apparently, the person who's working on that is continuing to do a lot of research on that, and I might reach out to him, see if I can get him on the show.
Yeah, there's a lot of great people that have done a lot of great historical work.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
yeah,
Including my friend here, Vinny. And if you like what he does, check out more of his shows on Vinny Makes the Hall of Fame Case 4. They're all great shows, they're all very interesting. He's actually going to take some requests from me, so I'm kind of excited. I got a couple that I'm thinking of right now. Actually, Vinny, do you take requests from other people, maybe?
I take requests from a lot of people. In fact,
Okay.
some of the cases that I have made in the past have been at the hands of requests. Like for instance, George Coons was a request.
Okay.
You know, Roman Gabriel was one. Jim Marshall was one.
I didn't know that.
Um, yeah, uh,
Okay.
there's
Uh,
a lot of these. Some of the names I do were requests. Yeah,
yeah, so what we'll do in the future, so whenever it's a request, just give a shout out to who you're doing this for.
yeah.
Yeah,
Remember,
like
it also has to be someone I think is also deserving too. So
well,
you
right. I
can't.
mean, right. I mean, like if you're gonna sort of say, "Hey, Vinny, do something on Stubby Clap," I think he's gonna say no. Vinny will push a lot of people. I think even he has a line.
I have a line. I'm not going to push for someone who was bad.
Okay. Well, his name's Stubby Clap. I mean, that's enough right there. The Hall of Awesome Names.
Yeah, okay. I will say this. Stubby Clap's only chance will be like his own, I guess his own high school Hall of Fame in Windsor, Ontario. That's about it.
Or Hall of Fame players who sound like they could be a venereal disease.
You know, actually, yeah, Stubby Clap does kind of sound like that.
Doesn't it? Doesn't it? I had a rough night the
Yeah.
other day. I gave my turns out my girlfriend caught the Stubby Clap from me.
Well,
All
not bad for a guy that only had one RBI his whole career.
right. Well, hey, there's cases to be made everywhere. So with that, wherever you are, wherever you may be, make it a great day because it never comes again.